उपविश्य मम वाचमिमां प्रसुप्तां सञ्जीवयत्यखिलशक्तिधरस्वधाम्ना अन्यांश्च हस्तचरणश्रवणत्वगादीन् प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यं प्राणान्नमो भगवते पुरुषाय तुभ्यम्.
So what is it working there? Normally, whenever somebody is speaking to you, even if it is not wrong, in the Buddha's case it was wrong, whatever he was speaking. Even if rightly somebody speaks you something bad, you flare up and give return abuses. It is not, is it not? हमेशा ही झगड़ा तो चल ही रहा है, घर में भी चल रहा है, कोई कुछ बोला तो बस और भी डबल बता दो. ये अगर नहीं बता पाया तो नेक्स्ट दिन वो इतना कष्ट होगा कि कल नहीं बता पाए, ठीक जवाब हमारे मुंह में नहीं आया. One day you are not able to give the reply, you will suffer so much that the right reply did not come to my tongue. Next day I will see that I am able to do that properly. So all these things go on in our mind. How is it that Buddha got so much of strength? Not to, that whenever we are return abusing, is it not that we have lost our self-centeredness? Whenever we are angry, that means we have lost our self-centeredness. That means we have become slave to the circumstances. Maybe it is true, maybe it is not true. In any of the cases, we should not lose the self-centeredness we have. That means we are slave to the circumstances. Now, how did Buddha keep quiet in that case? Because of his anchorage in the soul. That he doesn't bother about whatever. If there is some truth in the person saying, he will try to correct it. Suppose the person is saying rightly, some fault he is finding out. The jnani will try to correct it or see that have I hurt him that he is speaking like that? I should not hurt anybody. So that there also some correction is needed. Otherwise, if it has no truth in it, why should I worry about it? It is his business. He has abused. It is up after all. It's his business. I don't bother about it at all. So naturally, maximum what I can do, I may be concerned that why is he so agitated? Can I somehow calm him or give him some happiness by saying something? That will be the jnani's attitude. This is how we say that becoming master of the world. That means whatever the situation is, you are not slave to the circumstances. You have your own self-centeredness in every aspect, every situation. So this is what the Sattvika Buddhi and Sattvika Dhriti will do. So you see the causal relation, that Sattvika Buddhi will result in Sattvika Dhriti, provided the Sattvika Buddhi makes you pursue the Sattvika, whatever sadhana is necessary for Sattvika Dhriti. Normally it will, if you have developed Sattvika Buddhi, then that will say that you take Sattvika Ahara. Ahara means not only food, all kinds of inputs, so that you develop Sattvika Dhriti. Now, Sattvika Dhriti will automatically take you to Sattvika Sukha. The result will be Sattvika Sukha. So, we will read the shlokas and again come back to it. This is the summary of the discussion we are going to have. Open 36th verse. Sukham tvidanim tribidham.
Sukham tvidanim trividham.
Tu idanim becomes tvidanim. Sukham tvidanim trividham.
Sukham tvidanim trividham.
Shrinu me bharatarshabha.
Shrinu me bharatarshabha.
Abhyasat ramate yatra.
Abhyasad ramate yatra.
Dukkhantam cha nigacchati
दुःखान्तं च निगच्छति
yattadagre vishamiva
यत्तदग्रे विषमिव
pariname amritopamam
परिणामे अमृतोपमम्
tatsukham satvikam proktam
तत्सुखं सात्विकं प्रोक्तम्
atma buddhi prasadajam.
आत्मबुद्धिः प्रसादजम्.
See, the first line is Sukham tu idanim trividham shrinume bharatarshava. 3 kinds of Sukha I am going to tell you. Now the next 3 lines are all referring to the Sattvika Sukha. That is a little unusual. The second line of this sloka also goes under the Sattvika Sukha. Abhyasat ramate yatra dukkhantam cha nigacchati. That is, this Sattvika Sukha is such that by practice, by pursuing, it will not be our inborn quality. To win over the lower tendencies, you need some discipline, some practice. And when you have undergone the discipline, then you revel in that. This is true everywhere. Suppose you want to enjoy the music. You can listen to it, okay, but if you want to sing or if you want to play some instrument or so, without undergoing a very hard tapasya of austerity or practice or rehearsal, can you enjoy the music properly? It needs a long discipline. Just to produce the proper shruti, the correct shruti, it takes so much of effort and time. But when you have won over it, then you really revel in that, in singing, in that you get, actually it is the discipline, it is not a bondage. When you are pursuing the discipline, it is not a bondage. Pursuing the discipline, you are getting the freedom in the world of music. It's a greater freedom. As we often say that for the children also, suppose initially he would not like to study, even the letters he would not like to learn, because at that time their sukha is in playing. At that age, the sukha is in playing. So you have to force the child to sit and study. So it is a very hard discipline for him. It is almost like poison. But if he undergoes the discipline after a few years, when he is reading all the storybooks he likes, then what is it? Was the previously not studying was a greater freedom? Or now after studying, the freedom into the world of literature he got is a greater freedom? So this is how the Sattvika happiness works. It is not in the higher spiritual sense right now. We are talking about little, but that also every time, right from birth, we have to win over our lower tendencies, which is given to sensory joy and all. And when we undergo the discipline, we have the greater freedom. Even about the sportsman, if you don't undergo a very hard discipline, you will not be able to play well. You will really get the joy of playing only when you have undergone the discipline. Otherwise, you will not. So, abhyasat ramate, it's very important. Abhyasa means practice by undergoing a discipline. Abhyasat ramate means he revels. That means by practice, by undergoing the discipline, he revels in that. Ramate yatra. Dukkhantam cha nigacchati. That ends the dukkha corresponding to that. Suppose you had not learned the literature, the grammar and the language, then would it not be a real dukkha for you that so many people are reading, they are studying, even the newspaper you will not be able to read. Everywhere you will be obstructed by the bondage. So in any field, this discipline, following the discipline, when you are getting the freedom in that, it is actually ending a dukkha and it is giving you a sukha, which is a long-term sukha also. It is not a sensory sukha just. Although the music you are hearing with the senses, but the real joy you are getting is within, in the mind level, in the emotional level, in the intelligence level also. This is true of even studying anything. Suppose in our college studies or postgraduate studies, some subjects are very tough. So people will generally avoid those things. Statistical mechanics. Nobody will try to, and they will think how I can circumvent that by answering other questions. Nobody would take the hardship to understand the subject properly and go through it. So it is a bondage that you are not able to understand, and somehow you in the exam you are trying to mug up by going this way, that way, etc. But suppose you put the effort of understanding the subject, it will take a few days effort. Maybe you have to concentrate, you have to take some other books, read here and there to actually go into it. And once you have discovered the secret of it and you have understood the subject, then you have a great freedom in that. As statistical mechanics I am saying because that happened in my case. All our friends would be avoiding the statistical mechanics. So that was a challenge for me. I went to British Council, this library, that library, collected all the books. For 15 days I did not go to the college and I was only studying that and making some notes to understand it in a simpler manner and all. By the end of about 2 weeks or so, I felt like almost vomiting. It was so much of an effort, morning to night, always statistical mechanics, that I got fed up of it. But by that time I have already digested it. Maybe it was over digestion, so vomiting was there physically, not mentally. And then it became that so easy for me, anything, any questions coming up in the class and all, it was very easy for me. So all started coming to me for understanding statistical mechanics. But I am saying that we have to pursue the discipline. What is the technique there? It is a subject which has been designed by some people have put their thought. So we have the capability of going into that thought and understanding it. So this is the meaning of abhyasat ramate yatra. Dukkhantam cha nigacchati. Then he says, yat tat agre vishamiva. Pariname amritopamam. This sattvika sukha, initially it may be almost like poison. That tad agre vishamiva. It is initially almost like poison. Suppose a boy who wants to play, if you put him into study, initially it is vishamiva for him. Or even for us also to really get into a very difficult subject, it is really torturing. You will not be able to concentrate easily and go into it. Any such discipline, initially pursuing the discipline is quite difficult. So it is agre vishamiva, but pariname amritopamam. At the end it is nectarine. What? Because you have won over your bondage, you have won over your obstructions, you have won over your obstacles, be it some sensory preference, prejudice, be it some mental preference, prejudice, all these things you have to win over. It's a joy of victory. So there you will have, it is nectarine in the end. This is the nature of sattvika sukha. As I said, initially the boy must have felt difficulty in sacrificing the ice cream. But when he did the sacrifice and saw the joy in that, naturally it was an amritopamam, it is nectarine. So, tat sukham sattvikam proktam. That sukha is called sattvika sukha. Atma buddhi prasadajam. Atma buddhi prasadajam. That means, Atma buddhi means it is always anchored within, in our inmost level. And from there comes the placidity. The prasada, the sense of blissfulness or the placidity, it comes right from there. So it is not generated by the senses. The sattvika sukha, it is not generated by the senses. It is generating from our anchorage in our soul dimension, our inmost dimension. That is, you can, so many times we have said, what are the soul dimensions? If it is love, loving, universal love. It is unshakiness, stability, the sthita buddhi. It is untaintedness. That means not getting affected by anything at all, not getting touched by anything people are doing to you. So all these things are Atma Buddhi. Atma Buddhi. From there the prasada is generated, not from the senses. Then the second one, I will again come back here. Vishayendriya Samyogat
विषयेन्द्रिय संयोगात्
Yattadagre Amritopamam
यत्तदग्रे अमृतोपमम्
Pariname Vishamiva
परिणामे विषमिव
Tatsukham Rajasam Smritam.
तत्सुखं राजसंस्मृतम्.
He says clearly Vishayendriya Samyogat. When the Vishaya means the object and the perceiving sense, they come together. Samyoga means there is union of the two. Then this is what the Rajasa Sukha. Rajasa Sukha is generated from the sense organs. When the sense organ meets the corresponding object. That is, say, from food, directly the taste of the food, then seeing something, film or internet or anything, hearing something. Basically it is when the indriyas, the sense organs are coming in contact with the objects. So it is, he says that initially it is very nectarine, but at the end it is almost like poison, just like opposite of the sattvika. Now you may say that why should it be poison? It is not poison. Poison it will become if you allow the slavery to increase. That is, the nature of indriya sukha, of the sensory happiness, is always making you slave to that kind of So if you indulge more and more and more, then ultimately it will spoil your everything. As Nachiketa says, that it depletes our indriyas and it will make me slave. So, if you can have a restriction on that, if you enjoy it is Vishayendriya Samyogat, it is okay. But I don't become slave to that. That means you are applying again your Sattvika Buddhi there. That I won't become slave to the objective world. I will be master of the world, I can enjoy. Then it is fine. It's not said that you should not enjoy good food, you should not enjoy luxury or staying in a proper manner, good fresh air, or everything is fine, provided you do not become slave to it. It is the slavery which makes the same enjoyment a vishamiva. Because when you are not able to enjoy, you are not able to. Is it not true everywhere about food, about everything, all the enjoyments we have? Next one. Yadagre chanubandhe cha
यदग्रे चानुबन्धे च
Sukham mohanamaatmanah
सुखं मोहनमात्मनः
Nidralasya pramadotham
निद्रालस्य प्रमादोत्थं
Tattamasamudahritam.
तत्तामसमुदाहृतम्.
He said the sukha, which is this uttham. Uttham means from which it is generated, coming out of what? Yadagre cha anubandhe cha. Agre means in the beginning and anubandhe means in the end. That which is starting with as well as ending with. Ending with what? Mohanamatmanaha. Which deludes us, which puts a cover on our buddhi, on our sense of where lies the real joy, everything. The tamasa, the quality tamasika guna is always putting a cover on our real sense. That means if you have the viveka buddhi or the sharp analyzing power or to understand which is going to be beneficial for me in the long term, that buddhi will not work. The tamasika tendencies will cover up that buddhi. So the buddhi will not function. That is why people commit mistakes after mistake and later on say that I did not think at that time. That means they are deluded. The tamoguna that covers their discrimination. And they do it. But that is what they suppose. What is it? appearing from, where is its origin? Nidralasya pramada. In defining the guna yesterday I have said that tamoguna has got nidra, alasya, pramada. Nidra is, alasya is physical, nidra is all, intelligence, mind, body, everything is sleeping, inertia is there in everything. And pramada is the inertia of the intelligence, inattention. Pramada means inattention. Suppose when doing something, why are we inattentive? For the children, today one boy was asking that he is becoming nervous and he is not able to read anything. What is happening there? While reading, I am not able to be attentive to what I am studying. Why? Because the mind is taken away by some desire or fear or anxiety. What is that? If I fail, then what will happen? If I don't have the first rank, then what will happen? If you don't have the first division, what will happen? If I don't get an admission in this engineering or medical, what will happen? So our focus is not on the work, but on something I am looking for which will make me happy. See the chain there? We are looking for something and our mind is on that which will make me happy. So it is causing inattention in what we are doing. That is the pramada. When we are studying, the mind is not there. We always say that in the ashram, when you are serving, why is it that you are so inattentive? Because the mind is taken away by something else. If your mind is free of that desire and other things, then definitely whatever you are doing, you will do it very perfectly. Nobody has to tell you. But when we are pouring water in the glass, perhaps I am thinking of today somebody behaved with me wrongly. When we are chanting, perhaps I am thinking that what will be cooked today in the Annakshatra. When in the Annakshatra I am thinking that, oh, today I could not meditate at all. Always the mind is taken over by something else. It is the desire which is making us the inattention. So the intelligence is always remaining inattentive, pramada. Actually, in Kathopanishad it is there that after discussing the Nirvikalpa Samadhi, he is saying that apramattastada bhavati. The yogi becomes apramatta. That means he is freed of pramada. Why? It is because of pramada or inattention we are missing the self. It is so simple as that. Because that self, without that self, we cannot have any perception at all. When we are seeing the microphone, this microphone, unless it is revealed by the consciousness, by the self, by the Atma, I will not know it. But our focus is always on what is revealed. The revealer is missed. So we have to change the focus from the revealed to the revealer. That is our primary end. Even in meditation also, why are you saying that I am always disturbed by the thoughts? Because where are the thoughts rising? In the consciousness. And when the thoughts are there, you call it mind. But the thoughts are waves in the consciousness. Now, it is just like the entire sea. That is, I am the sea. The consciousness is the sea, in which some thought waves are coming. Now, the moment the wave is coming, our focus is on that wave, we are missing the sea. You get my point? So in meditation, what are you trying to do? Always your focus, you are shifting from this thought to that thought to here, I am getting disturbed, that is also a thought, so that also you are focusing on. So constantly we are looking for waves in the mind, whereas the mind itself, the consciousness without the waves or with the waves, both way it is what we are looking for. We are missing it because our focus is always on small what is revealed, not the revealer we are missing. The revealer always we are missing. So pramada, that is why it is said that the whole sadhana is actually cultivating attention. It is nothing else. So if we cannot do small things attentively, that means we cannot do the final attention also, we cannot expect to have. So this tamoguna, it takes away our attention. That is why Vivekananda used to say that in our country nobody should meditate, they should play football. The children, our youth, should play football, they should not do meditation. In many cases, it is advised also that those who are given to tamoguna and they are trying to meditate, we say that no, don't meditate. You do some service, try to get rid of your lethargy, try to get rid of your self-centeredness, selfishness, do some service. That is why Vivekananda had designed that the seekers should not be only studying scriptures and meditating. They have to do service. That is why they have designed the medical service or other calamity service and all in Ramakrishna Mission. So that Rajoguna has to be, a good Rajoguna has to be cultivated to win over the Tamoguna effect. Only Sattvaguna will not come at that point. So both Sattva Rajas have to be cultivated to get over this Tamoguna. But for the Tamoguni, this is also a happiness. They like to sleep and sleep and sleep. They like to remain not doing anything. Forget about all that. Not thinking about anything, remaining always dull also, they like to do it. Even in depression, do you think that they are trying to get over the depression? Those who are depressed, they like to be in depression. They indulge in depression. One day if they decide that no, I will be out of this depression, they can easily do it. But it is the Tamoguna which is causing all that. In Delhi we were taken, I have told about it, in a house where it's a big business house, quite renowned. 3 floors were there for one for the parents and 2 for the 2 sons, the sons' families. Then when Swamiji went in, one of the daughter-in-law, she is suffering from depression. So she came to meet Swamiji and told about her condition and all. Swamiji listened to all that. Then after some time they asked us to see that. Generally whenever we make some house visit, they would take around their house, all the rooms and all. So we had to go to the first floor, ground floor, first floor, second floor, like that. When we went to the first floor, we found that it is all black. The sofa is very costly. Everything is extremely costly. Sofa is black covered. The curtains are somewhat almost like black. Then all around on the wall, the pictures, the paintings, they are all by Gauguin, so one person who was very pessimistic and depressed, that all ghosts are coming out of darkness and all those paintings. Gauguin? I think Gauguin. So all those paintings are adorning the whole world. We went to the bedroom bed cover is black. On the black some red things are there, but it is basically black. Everything, everywhere. So will he not get depressed? See, she has created her house to remain in Tamoguna. Let her change everything. That was suggested also. But they would not listen. They would remain like that. If they change, what they have to do? Somehow forcefully change everything around. Make everything white or light colored and bright and cheerful around. She will not be able to think of the cheerful. Let her take some interior decorator's help and tell that I am suffering from depression, please make my room cheerful. They will design it. They will not do that also. And then somehow take sattvika food. Not the all rotten and basi and all those things. Even rich people take, they keep it in the fridge for 1 month and take that. So we have to change our habits to become sattvic. We have to take to sattvika ahara, sattvika habits. So he is saying pramada alasya nidralasya pramadotham. This sukha is generated from nidra, means sleep, alasya, idleness, and pramada, inattention. They will not be attentive about anything at all. Always lying or sitting and reading newspaper and talking about either politics which he has nothing to do about it, or about depressing things that the whole world is getting polluted. See, everywhere there is a story of theft or dacoity or rape and whatnot. The world is becoming corrupt. You become alright. Why are you worrying so much about the world? They will always, as if the whole world's burden is put on their head. They have to correct the world, set right the world. It's a typical example of tamasika character.